Most men completely miss it when a woman is secretly in love with them. And the reason is simple: she'll never just walk up and say it. Instead, she'll hide it in little signals so subtle that if you don't know what to look for, you'll think she's just being nice. But here's the truth: when a woman feels something deeper, her behavior changes in ways she can't control. I've seen men overlook these signs for years, only to realize later, she was practically screaming it without saying a word. So today, you're going to learn the 3 hidden signs she's secretly in love with you, and the second one will change the way you see women forever. Let's start with the first sign, and it's something you probably noticed before, but never understood what it really meant. The first hidden sign is that she remembers the tiniest details about you, details you may have forgotten yourself. I'm not talking about obvious things like your birthday or favorite food. I mean the small, throwaway things you mentioned once and never brought up again. Maybe months ago you told her about a book you loved as a kid, and suddenly she sends you a link saying, "Thought you might like this." Or you casually mentioned that you've been craving a certain coffee blend, and the next week, it's sitting on your desk without her saying a word. Here's why this matters: when a woman is secretly in love, her mind stores information about you like a treasure chest. She collects these details because in her heart, they're pieces of you. And the more she remembers, the more you've taken root in her thoughts. Now, the second sign? That's where it gets shocking, because it's something she'll never admit out loud. The second hidden sign is that she gets quietly territorial, even if she has no official claim on you. You'll notice it in moments when another woman enters the picture: her tone shifts, her eyes linger a little longer, or she suddenly joins the conversation just to be near you. She might even tease you lightly, but underneath, it's her way of re-establishing a presence. I remember a man telling me about a coworker who always acted casual, until one day he mentioned going to lunch with a new female hire. He said her smile didn't fade, but her voice got sharper, her questions more direct. "Oh? And how long were you there?" It wasn't jealousy she could openly show, so it came out in subtle protective behavior. When a woman is secretly in love, she guards her space around you. And the third sign? It's the one that almost no man catches, but once you see it, you'll never unsee it. The third hidden sign is in her eyes, but not in the way most men think. It's not just about holding eye contact, it's the timing of it. When she's secretly in love, she'll often look at you when she thinks you're not looking. And the moment your eyes meet, she'll quickly glance away, sometimes with a small smile she can't hide. I knew a guy who worked late nights with a female colleague. He told me he'd catch her staring across the office, only for her to pretend she was focused on her screen. The truth? Those stolen glances are her safest way of admiring you without the risk of being caught in her feelings. Most men ignore it, thinking it's nothing, but for her, it's a quiet confession. And once you start noticing these signals, a whole new world opens up, one where her silence speaks louder than words. Now here's where most men go wrong: they think once they spot these signs, it's time to act fast. But moving too quickly can make her retreat, because in her mind, these feelings are still a secret she's protecting. A woman who's secretly in love is like someone holding a delicate glass. If you grab it too suddenly, you risk shattering it. Instead, the key is to mirror her pace. Notice her signals, respond with warmth, but never rush her to confirm them. I remember a friend who played it slow. He saw the way she remembered his favorite things, how she became quietly territorial, how her eyes lingered when she thought he wasn't looking. He let her feel safe showing those signs until she was ready to let her guard down completely. And when she finally did, it felt inevitable, not forced. That's how you turn subtle signs into something real. One of the easiest ways to make her feel safe enough to keep showing those signs is to become a consistent part of her world. When she's secretly in love, she's paying attention to the rhythm of how you appear in her life. If you disappear for weeks, she'll convince herself those feelings were one-sided. But if you're steady, not overbearing, not needy, you give her space to trust her emotions. I knew a man who would always check in with a simple text after a big meeting or a rough day she mentioned in passing. He wasn't flooding her phone, just letting her know he'd remembered. Each time, she opened up a little more, and her secret became harder for her to hide. Because in love, consistency is proof. And for a woman keeping her feelings hidden, that proof is what keeps the door open. Another thing you'll notice? She starts mirroring you, often without even realizing it. It could be in the way she picks up your phrases, starts enjoying the same type of music you do, or even matches your body language in conversation. This isn't just coincidence. When a woman is secretly in love, her subconscious is looking for harmony, for ways to feel closer without saying a word. I remember watching two friends talk at a cafe. Every time he leaned back, she leaned back. When he rested his hand on the table, so did she. He didn't notice, but anyone watching could see they were moving in sync like a quiet dance. This mirroring is her way of saying, "We're the same," without speaking it out loud. And the deeper her feelings go, the more her actions will start to reflect yours, almost like you're in the same rhythm. You might also catch her creating small excuses to be around you, reasons that seem casual on the surface, but are really about keeping you in her orbit. She might accidentally run into you at your favorite coffee shop, or suddenly develop an interest in a hobby you've mentioned. Sometimes it's as simple as staying a little longer in a group conversation just because you're there. I once knew a guy who noticed a coworker always seemed to need help with something right around his lunch break. At first, he thought it was coincidence, until he realized she never asked anyone else. That's not just convenience, that's intention wrapped in subtlety. When a woman is secretly in love, proximity becomes her quiet strategy. The closer she can be, even without words, the more her feelings grow, and the harder they become to hide. Another hidden sign? She remembers and responds to your emotions, even the ones you don't openly express. If you're having a rough day, she'll notice the shift in your tone before anyone else. If you're excited about something, she'll match your energy instantly. This is more than empathy, it's emotional attunement. When a woman's secretly in love, she tunes into your mood like it's her own. A friend once told me about a woman in his circle who could always tell when something was bothering him, even when he tried to hide it. She'd send a quick message, "You seemed quiet today, everything okay?" To him, it felt like she was reading his mind. This level of awareness doesn't happen by accident. It happens because, to her, your happiness and comfort have become personal, even if she's never said it out loud. She also gives you small, almost invisible tests, ways to gauge where she stands in your heart without ever asking directly. It might be a playful comment to see how you react, or mentioning another man just to watch your body language. Sometimes, she'll forget to reply right away, just to see if you'll notice or follow up. I remember a guy telling me about a woman he liked who once joked, "Careful, I might replace you with someone taller." He laughed it off, but later realized she was watching his reaction closely. She wasn't trying to hurt him, she was searching for proof that he cared. These little tests aren't about manipulation. They're about protection. She's trying to see if her feelings are safe with you, before she lets you see the full depth of them. She'll also find subtle ways to compliment you, but they won't always sound like typical compliments. Instead of saying you're handsome, she might say, "You always make people feel comfortable," or "You have this way of calming a room." These compliments are layered, they focus on who you are, not just how you look. One man told me about a woman who once said to him, "You're the kind of person people remember." It was casual, almost offhand, but it stayed in his mind for years. That's because when a woman's secretly in love, her compliments are meant to show admiration without revealing too much. She's telling you she values you, not just your presence, but your character. And the more she does this, the more she's quietly building a case for why you're different from everyone else. Another sign you'll notice, she's unusually supportive of your goals, even the small ones most people overlook. If you mention you're thinking about starting something new, she'll encourage you. If you set a minor target, she'll check in to see how it's going. And when you hit even a small milestone, she'll celebrate it like it's her own victory. I knew a man training for his first 5K run. Hardly anyone cared, except for one woman in his life. She'd ask about his practice, send him motivational quotes, and even show up on race day just to cheer. She wasn't doing it for credit, she was doing it because his wins felt personal to her. When a woman's secretly in love, she invests in your future. Not for recognition, but because she's already imagining herself in it. She'll also remember to circle back to conversations you thought were long forgotten. Maybe weeks ago, you mentioned you were worried about a family member, or that you were struggling with a decision. Out of nowhere, she'll ask, "Hey, how did that situation ever turn out?" It's not just small talk, it's proof she's been carrying pieces of your life in her mind. A man once told me he casually mentioned wanting to fix up an old guitar but never found the time. Months later, she brought it up, asking if he'd ever done it, and offering to help him find the right tools. To him, it felt like she'd been quietly walking alongside him in his own life story. This is her way of saying, "I see you, and I remember." And for someone hiding her feelings, that's a powerful confession without a single word spoken. You may also notice she shares more of her personal world with you than with others, little windows into her life that feel reserved just for you. It could be a story from her childhood, a secret dream she's never told anyone, or even fears she usually keeps guarded. When a woman's secretly in love, she doesn't open these doors easily. She chooses you because she feels an unspoken trust. One man told me about a woman who, late one night, began telling him about her father's old advice, something she said she'd never shared with anyone. He realized it wasn't just a random moment, it was her way of letting him deeper into her world. These moments are rare, and they're not accidental. They're her way of saying, "You matter enough to know the real me." And once she starts doing this, the final sign becomes almost impossible to miss. The final hidden sign? She finds ways to be present in your life's most ordinary moments, and turns them into memories. It might be offering to run errands with you, joining you for a quick lunch, or stopping by just to see how you're doing. These aren't grand gestures, they're small threads she's weaving into your daily life, so that being with you feels natural. A friend once told me about a woman who started showing up at the park where he walked his dog. At first, he thought it was coincidence, until he realized she lived on the other side of town. She was choosing the long drive, just for a few minutes together. When a woman's secretly in love, she doesn't always confess it in words. She confesses it in presence, in the quiet, consistent way she makes herself part of your everyday.